Okay, so summer's finally here, and also July it's here, and June is over. And so I'm here today to talk about the books I read in June. And I read, do I really need to say how many books? I just read some books, and I'm gonna talk about them. We don't need to say like a number. If you see me like looking to the side, it's because my dog is trying to bark, and I have a spray bottle. It's for the cat, but she hates water. So, and also it's like so hot. So I'm refreshing her, and she shuts up. Shut ups. Shut ups. How do you say that? Yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's begin with the books I read. I'm not gonna talk like about each one of them because some of them are like famous or classics. I'm gonna like maybe do a superficial review of the book technically, or tell you about it like superficially, but yeah, just so you know. And I'm gonna let you know if the book is like famous or a classic. Okay, so June was Pride Month, and I wanted to read some LGBTQ plus books, so I decided to read Her Body and Other Parties. The author is Carmen Maria Machado. And even though, okay, so I liked some of these stories, but I didn't like, it's not only, I don't know how to explain it, it's like many stories, okay? So I didn't like some of the stories, and that's why I gave it only 3 stars. But I did enjoy some of them, and it was really enjoyable. And I don't know, I think everyone should read it. Even though I didn't like all of the stories, it's worth the read. And yeah, I would recommend it. After reading Her Body and Other Parties, oh yeah, the stories are about like queerness and like feminism. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, yeah, LGBT, there's magical realism, and so on. After that, I decided to read a play, and I read If You Hear Like a Meow, That's My Cat, and we're going to ignore that. And after that, I read Death of a Salesman, and yeah, that's a play. It's a classic, I suppose. It's this play, and it talks about like capitalism and how once like how we become useless once we cannot make income to spend that on like material stuff, and like we are out of the system. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it was really interesting. And like the main character, he's been a salesman for 34 years, and now yeah, like he's 60 and they don't want him anymore, and they're throwing him like, and they don't want him oh, okay, so he's turned 60 and they don't want him anymore. And it kind of reminds me of this song by Taylor Swift, like It's Time to Go, when it says 20 years at your job, then the son or the boss gets the spot that was yours. It reminds me of that song. After that, that's a classic, as I said. After that, I read another classic for my book club. I read 1984. 1984, I mean Taylor Swift. 1984 by George Orwell, and I gave it 4 stars. This is the story about like a totalitarian government where everyone is controlled. There's no decisions. There's no freedom, and like Big Brother is always watching you. There's no liberties. And I read last year, I think it was, I read Animal Farm by the no, it was this year. I read Animal Farm by the author, and I really liked that. And I liked Animal Farm more than 1984, even though I did like 1984. But there are some things yeah, and I see the allure, but I like more when men write about things that, like, when men don't write about women. Like, I don't want men to have female characters. You don't deserve to have women in your books. I'm sorry. That's the truth. I'm not sorry. That's the truth. The next book I read, I wanted like a break. I wanted to read some romance or contemporary or something like that. So I read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first book I read of hers that's not like from the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo universe. And I was immediately attracted to the plot because it tells the story. So this girl named Emma, she was married to this guy for like a year, and he went, like, he's a photographer or something like that, and he goes on a trip and his plane goes missing, and she, like, his person dead. And so some years go by and she is married again, and so the book begins when she gets a call from her husband that supposedly died, and he is alive, and he's like, I'm coming back home. And so it's like decided between her, she's not married, I'm sorry, she has a fiance, between her fiance and her husband. So it's kind of messy. And yeah, I think yeah, already. I don't know. Like, I give it 4 stars. It was really funny, enjoyable. I was half of the time like, Emma, you're a fucking dumb bitch. I kind of hated the main character, and it kind of felt like a bad fanfic in the beginning. But I did enjoy it in the end. And of course, I read it because I want to see the movie with Simu Liu. And I will say which is my favorite character, because you will know which, like, how it ends if I tell you, because obviously if I gave it 4 stars, it's because I like the ending. So I will not tell you who is my favorite character. Just know that it's a great book. It was enjoyable. Okay, so after that, I decided to finally finish all of my Sally Rooney books, and I read Beautiful World, Where Are You? And again, Sally Rooney delivers. I like this one more than Conversations with Friends, but not as much as Normal People. So I gave it 4.7 stars. Alice is one of my favorite characters. And so if you don't know, Beautiful World, Where Are You? It's about these 4 characters that are connected, and they're like navigating life. And we are following. That's what books of like Sally Rooney are about. And also she's like discussing how necessary are contemporary novels in our lives and stuff like that. It was really enjoyable. I really love Sally Rooney, and it felt like a movie script. I heard some people said that, and I agree, but in a good way. I didn't like hate it. I felt like it was like, I see books like movies playing in my head, and that's what happened with this book. I felt that played in my head. I related the most to Alice, and as I said before, and yeah, she's amazing. And one of the things that made me read this book, I think it was Jack Edwards, like the YouTuber, and he said, an author also, he's an author, and he said something along the lines of like, this book is so surprising. It has like a specific character has an issue with his phone, that when he opens a certain app, like the music goes off. And those are like details that only Sally Rooney like can accomplish so flawlessly, and I really loved it, and it was amazing. After that, I read In the Dream House. Oh, I think I skipped a book. Yeah, I forgot. The same day I finished One True Loves, I read in one sitting All Your Perfects by Colin Hoover, and I gave it 2 stars. Oh my god, I was gonna say 4. And even though I think it deserves 0, but there were some cute quotes maybe, but I hated that book. That book is awful. I'm so disappointed. Like, I was sold on the second Chimps romance, but this book is so awful. Like, didn't reach my expectations at all. Both of the characters were unlikable of the main characters, and the beginning was like, oh my god, it was so dumb. Like it's about this couple. They're like we're seeing two point of views. We're seeing this couple like uh, in the way to getting a divorce, this married couple, and we are also seeing how they got together. And they got together because both of their partners of the moment were cheating on them with each other, and then you get it, and they met and they got together, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be cute. It was not cute. Like, and he's toxic as hell, and she's even more toxic. They're both, I think I gave it 2 stars because maybe it's great representation to like infertility problems. I wouldn't know. I don't want to have kids even, so I don't know. But yeah, it felt kind of, I didn't like this book, and I will not recommend it to anyone. I'm sorry. Now, we can talk about one of my favorite books of the month. After the almost disappointment of Her Body and Other Parties, I said I'm gonna give Carmen Maria Machado another chance because she's a Carmen and she deserves it. She's a Carmen Maria Machado. I have to give her another chance. And so I read In the Dream House. And this is a non-fiction, and it's basically her story with a same-sex abusive partner. You guys, I cannot put into words how magical was the experience, but how real, how raw it was. Like, I felt her pain, I felt everything, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, but I don't think that's enough. I have no words to describe it. And yeah, I just gotta say this book is freaking amazing, and y'all should read it. After In the Dream House, I decided to do a reread. I reread The Atlas 6, but I didn't reread this one. I reread this one while I was listening to the audiobook of the new version. So I was seeing all the changes made, and I wrote down some of the changes. Like, yeah, I went kind of crazy on this book, and I really appreciate it. And now it's annotated. Like, oh my god, I should look at it. I loved it again, and I realized that it did needed to be updated. Like, this was amazing the first time I read it, but reading it now, I was like, okay, so this copy needed to be changed. We needed like Thor, thank you for the change. And now I cannot wait to see the show I think they're doing about it, like a TV show, because I think it's going to be amazing. And also I cannot wait to read like the second book, and I'm super ready to read The Atlas Paradox. Oh my god, it has like my fingers everywhere. You're going to ignore that. I really love The Atlas 6. 5 stars again. Then I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book, because everyone was going crazy about it, and Amazon was coming out with the show, and I was like, I'm gonna read it because I'm a sucker for the hype. And again, I regretted following the hype because again, I was disappointed. I gave it 2 stars, which is okay. So I think it's a 2. It has no head and no tail. It has no plot. It has no character development. It doesn't have anything. And the main character, it's this white girl that's like, oh my god, I'm pretty now. Like, and she's not like other girls. And they use gay as an insult. And I was like, why do people like this book? And then I said, okay, I'm not gonna be a bitch. If you like it, you like it, but I don't like it. So yeah, don't read it. I don't think I'm gonna continue the series, and I'm very disappointed in the author because I really like the author because I read To All the Boys I Loved, and I read P.S. I Love You. So, and I read another of her books, but that's this month, so you'll hear about it now. After that, I wanted a book to make me cry, and then I decided to read Before the Coffee Gets Cold. It did not make me cry, so yeah, mission failed, and I gave it 3 stars. It's a good book, don't get me wrong, but I didn't like the pacing. And if you don't know, oh my god, The Summer I Turned Pretty, should I tell you like the plot? No, I'm not gonna. Okay, so before the coffee gets cold, it's about like this coffee shop that you go to it and you travel in time, and so it has some rules to time traveling, and it's like very interesting. I will recommend the book because it is enjoyable, but also um, I didn't like the pacing, but maybe you like it. It's like a translated edition, so I will not be harsh, obviously, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's great. Oh, it's like stories, short stories, many stories, but they're technically connected because it's like the same coffee shop. So yeah. Once again, I was trying and reaching for a great book, and I said, why not read The Silent Patient? People keep saying like this book has a plot twist. You're gonna fall off your ass. You're gonna love it. And I was like, yeah, I wanna be surprised. And also, I trying to recollect. If you notice all of my previous wrap-ups, I'm reading mystery and thrillers because I wanna give recommendations in Halloween, and I don't wanna read them all in Halloween because then I will have to give you like, or in September, because then it will be part of the wrap up and it wouldn't make sense to make a recommendations video. So I'm pacing them like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. So they will come all together in October, and I want to also like put the video out at the beginning of October, so y'all get a chance to read them in the month. And I'm gonna do a lot of things in October because I'm so excited. I really love Halloween, so yeah, there's that. But The Silent Patient, I gave it 2 stars, and it basically follows the story of this woman that allegedly killed her husband. And so she is sent to these, she doesn't talk. From the moment they found her with the dead body, she doesn't talk. And so she is taken to a mental facility, and they're like examining her, and we are also following this psychotherapist, if I'm not wrong, and he's um, like trying to help her talk. That's the whole thing he's doing. And I have to say, okay, so I have to say, the plot twist, like my head came up with better stuff that could, like, I never thought it was what happened was going to happen, because I was like, they're not gonna be that dumb. It's gonna be a super plot twist, and I'm gonna be surprised, and I'm gonna be so happy. I was not. 2 stars. Sucked. Then I read Ariel by Sylvia Plath, and so this is like a group of poems. If you don't know, Sylvia Plath is like the author of The Bell Jar, and before killing herself, she left like in her desk, I think, a group of poems to be published after she died, I think. And so they published, the first one was edited by her ex-husband. This one I read was like the cleanest version, like more original without things being edited, but it has like an introduction by her daughter that's living still, Frida, Frida Hugh, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, her daughter. And yeah, it's about her depression. And reading it, I realized, I gave it 3 stars. I realized that I'm as mentally ill as her. And I didn't like to see my reflection in Sylvia Plath because she killed herself. So I'm fucking scared. I'm not gonna kill myself, I'm joking. But yeah, I saw myself in many of the poems, and it was really great poetry. That's that. I kept getting disappointed, but I swear it gets better with the last books I read. But after that, I read Rebecca. Rebecca is a classic by Daphne du Maurier. Okay, so Rebecca follows the story of this unnamed main character, and she basically meets this guy, a barbaric hero, of course, and he's named Maxim. And Maxim takes her. Shut up! Don't start. And he takes they meet each other and they marry, and they go to this house he has called Manderley, and there, like, the main character finds out like the house is haunted by the memory of his ex-wife that died tragically. And so yeah, that's the book, and it's fucking dumb and I fucking hated it because the main character, it's so unlikable, but in the bad way. Like, I didn't want to hear her bullshit. I didn't want to defend her. And the Byronic hero, it's so dumb. Like, he doesn't hold a candle to Heathcliff. Like, what was he trying to do? And yeah, she was lame, and the only interesting character, it's dead, which is Rebecca. She's dead already. So, as I said in my review, everyone sucked, and not in the good, morally gray kind of way. Yeah. After that, I read something better. So I read a poetry book by Lisabeth Acevedo, and it's called Clap When You Land. It's basically based in a quote. We say, I don't know if they say it in other countries, but basically, well, it's not a phrase. It's something we do. Like when we, like, no, you're going to fall. Well, when a plane lands, we say, we clap. That's a custom in my country. I never read in a plane, so I don't know. But yeah, they clap. I always heard about that. And basically it follows the story of two girls, one living in the Dominican Republic, the other one living in New York. And they basically share a dad, but they don't know, like, so like their dad has two families, and so he's traveling from New York to the Dominican Republic to visit the one that lives here, and the plane like has an accident, and so a lot of stuff happens, and they meet each other, like they discover that the other exists. Yeah, that's how you say it. And it's a lot of messy stuff, but it's a really great book, and it did make me cry. Finally, I cried with something. And if you're not from the Caribbean, like, don't read it. This is only for people from the Caribbean. Okay. Next book. I read a book in Spanish by Mariana Rodriguez. I read Los peligros de fumar en la cama. I think the name in English is like the dangers of smoking in bed, if I'm not wrong. I heard so many people talk about it, including Chloe from Books with Chloe. I think it's her channel. And so I said, oh my god, this is a book in Spanish. I have to read it in the original language. And I read it, and I gave it 3 stars, and it's so fucking disturbing. I don't know, like, I was like, someone can explain to me why do I keep reading about depressed, crazy, unhinged women. And so yeah, the book is great. It's like a group of stories. It's like not one novel, it's short stories, and I really like that. Again, I'm liking a lot the short stories kind of thing. So yeah. Then I read Boy Parts, and I gave it 4 stars. And Boy Parts, there's no way to explain it. It's this unhinged book about this crazy woman, and we follow her as she does crazy stuff. And I really liked it. As you can see, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I still don't know what's real and what's not. But yeah, she's like a photographer, right? And she does like photos of men, and that's what the book is about, basically. Like, not about men, but about her and her life, like her craziness, because she's crazy as fuck. Yeah, something like that. Then I read the other book by Jenny Han, the author of The Summer I Turned Pretty series. I read the last book of the Lara Jean series. How do you call it? All the Boys I've loved before. I read Always and Forever Lara Jean, and I gave it 3 stars. This month I was like 3 stars, 3 stars, 3 stars, and I did like the ending. But if you don't know, I don't like Kavinsky, and so I don't like Kavinsky. I love John Ambrose McLaren, and so that's that. I'm gonna jump right over that one. Then I read the 3 last books I read. I read Yerba Buena, I read Sorcery of Thorns, and I reread Daisy Jones and the Six. This one I finished it, like, I finished this book like 30 minutes before the month ended. So I need an applause because of that, because that was, and I read it before. That's why I left it for the ending. But I really wanted to reread it because I hadn't annotated this copy, and now I have it full of annotations, and it had divided throat the whole time. It is so good. It's still a 5-star. It's one of my favorite books from last year. So it's unfair to call it my favorite book this month. So it's only a great book. Cannot wait to reread Seven Husbands or Malibu Rising, because yeah, I have a physical copy of Seven Husbands that I need to annotate. So maybe I'll read it next month or this month, like July, maybe August. I don't know yet. You need to meet this crazy. This is my child. He's seeking attention. You never met him. He's my cat. Psst. He usually looks at the camera, so that's not creepy at all. I don't know how he knows where the camera is. You gotta get down. Oh my god. Okay, so Sorcery of Thorns by Margot Rogerson. I heard people say before that this author knows how to write like standalone fantasy. I never read, I think, a standalone, well, Heartless, stuff like that. But this is not a retelling. This is like, I think it's not a retelling. And it's such a good book. And now I find out that we're getting like a novella. And we're, oh my god. Okay, so I will not talk a lot about it. I think this is my favorite book of the year. Clockwork Reader, oh, what's her name? A Clockwork Reader, Hannah, was recommending it, and I said, if Hannah likes it, I'm gonna like it. That's not always the case, because she liked more than me, I think, before the coffee gets cold. But I did like this one. I gave it 5 stars. Like, there's no better book than Sorcery of Thorns. I decided it. I cannot wait for the other one to come out in January 2023. And if you don't know, this basically it's like a book. I don't want to say much. It's like about stories and about books. It's a lot about books. And it has obviously fantasy, and we have the kind of enemies to lovers. And yeah, we have bisexual characters, we have an aromantic character, and we have one that's a little bitch that I love. And the main character, this book gave me so many good vibes. Like, it reminded me of Clockwork, like the Infernal Devices. Like, the main character reminds me of Tessa, but she also reminds me of Jude. But the love interest reminds me of Cardan, but they also remind me of Will, but they also remind me of Tessa. And it's kind of like a mess, but I really love that because it brought out like all the stuff I liked about all these books I read before, all this YA, it's YA. And yeah, it made me realize that I'm not outgrowing YA, I only need to find good YA, which is sometimes difficult, just as finding adult good books. So yeah, that's about it. And last but not least, I want to talk a little about Yerba Buena. Yerba Buena, it's this story about 2 women, and they're basically living their lives in their, like, we're following them as they find each other and then try to stay together, or trying to, like, they're dealing with so much stuff in their lives, their personal life, and they're trying to stay connected or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. And it surrounds, like, there's a lot of talk about Yerba Buena. And if you don't know what Yerba Buena is, I think it's spearmint, like you translate it as that. And it's my favorite gum, like, flavor. So I really wanted to read the book only because of that. And I requested an arc in NetGalley, and they said no. That's okay. That's Latinophobia. I will not be disclosing more. But regardless, I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 5 stars. Did I say it? 5 stars? I don't know how to talk. And yeah, it was such a great book. And those are the books I read this month. I really enjoyed a lot of them. After this video, you are going to be seeing my mid-year freakout. So that's everything I read in the month of June. Let's see how much I read in July. I have vacations, and also I'm planning to reread the Percy Jackson series maybe. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have like 10 days of vacation, but we'll see. Okay, I hope you like that.